go.
Most important thing in business is honesty, integrity, hard work, family. Never forgetting where we came from.
Yes, here we are. Here we are. How's it going out there? How's everybody doing? You are now rolling with the D live in the place to be. Coming to you guys tonight from the West Coast. We are in Palo Alto, California, in the heart of the San Francisco Bay Area. Excited to be here tonight. Lots of cool things to share with you guys. Why am I in Palo Alto? Why are you rolling with the D? Why did you fly to the West Coast, fly with the D out to California today? And why are you joining me from the beautiful Palo Alto? And we're on our West Coast time. Our West Coast time, it's 7 p.m. on the West Coast, 10 p.m. on the East Coast. How's it going, all of my East Coast people over there? Welcome to Palo Alto. Welcome to a very special edition of Rolling with the D, live from Palo Alto. So I've been telling you guys about this trip, telling you guys about what I have going on in the next couple of days, what I'm doing out here. So I'm bringing you this show live as promised from the location. I'm out here in Palo Alto because I'm getting ready tomorrow. I'm going to be spending the day at the Facebook headquarters. Pretty excited about that. Going to be at Facebook headquarters all day doing a training, small business training, learning how to blow up my business, learning how to utilize Facebook as a tool, as a business, a strategic partner and strategic tool. And I'm excited to get this information. I'm excited to be able to bring it back to you guys. And I'm really excited to be out here in Palo Alto. So for those of you who don't know about Palo Alto is it's a charter city. It's located, in the northwest corner of Santa Clara County, California, in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it is one of the meccas for entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurial drive, entrepreneurial ingenuity. It's all happening out here in Palo Alto. So just to give you an idea of some of the companies that are out here in this area, we're talking about obviously Facebook, which I'm going to be there tomorrow. We're talking about Hewlett and Packard. We're talking about Square. We're talking about other companies that you know of, like the Twitter and the Apples of the world. So these are the kind of companies that are all around this little area. And I got in this afternoon and I went for a little walk. I was walking through the city, walking through the streets, and it's just a buzz. There's just an attitude about this whole area. There's just an energy out here. You can kind of feel it. And so I thought, this is an awesome place that we can be doing our show from, because our show, Rolling with the D, it's hacking the Bob, hacking the business of beauty. And what better way to hack the business of beauty than to come to the hackers central of the world, the center, the nucleus of hackers. And to tell you about the nucleus of hackers, the actual address for Facebook, which is in Menlo Park, Facebook headquarters, their address is One Hacker Way. Now tell me that's not a sign, right? A sign, that's where it's going down. So I'm out here. I'm going to be out here going through this small business training, going through an intense day spending at the headquarters of Facebook. So I'll be there all day tomorrow. I can't wait to recap the day and share with you, what was going on while I was there. But I want to tell you a little bit about the area here. So when we're talking about Palo Alto, California, we're talking about hackers, we're talking about entrepreneurship, some of the things that you can find out here. I mean, Stanford University, some of the brightest minds on the planet. That's where a lot of people go and get trained. A lot of our engineers, come from Stanford University. Hewlett and Packard, we talked about, they actually started in their garage out here. Hewlett and Packard, they even have a museum out here. It's the Hewlett and Packard House and Garage, where you can actually go and check it out. The birthplace. This is considered, Palo Alto, the birthplace of Silicon Valley. when you think about silicon, the material that's in the microprocessors, the microchips, and that's how this area got its name. You know, two guys in a garage. We're talking about Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, you know, starting out here. So as I'm walking through these, you know, through these streets, and I'm walking, you know, that spirit of entrepreneurship is here. And so our show, you know, which is dedicated to entrepreneurs, beauty entrepreneurs, or just entrepreneurs in general. You may not be an entrepreneur right now. Maybe you're just a wantrepreneur, but that spirit is alive, and that's what's going on out here. So it's pretty cool. It's been a pretty amazing, you know, day as I'm getting settled in. Gotta get used to the time change, of course, because I'm an East Coast guy. So coming out here West Coast, you know, I felt like I was traveling all day. Then I got here and it was noon, and I was like, oh my, I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. So, you know, I'm just running on pure adrenaline right now. You know, got my awake shots going on. But I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you guys for a little bit tonight. I did stream a little bit this morning while I was traveling, so there was a impromptu kind of flying with the D. We hashtag FWTD. You know, rolling with the D is hashtag RWTD. So this is the West Coast special edition. But I was able to check in and do a little short video on my way out here, and just being in this environment, it just brings to mind, you know, what the reason, you know, why I started this journey in the first place. What led me out here is a series of events, and you have to think about, you know, the series of events that led you to where you're at right now. Certain things have had to occur for you to end up exactly where you are. And whether you're happy right now about where that is, or whether you're upset about what, you know, where you find yourself right now, the steps and the results of what you have right now is by design and by choice. Now, some of you might be like, well, you know, I'm broke right now. I didn't design this. This isn't my choice. But there's a series of steps that led you there. And some of you are doing well off. You're like, oh, I'm rich right now. Well, there's a series of steps that led you there. And when I look at some of these entrepreneurs around here, like the companies that have come out of this area, why do people flock here? Why do people come here? You know, they come here for a lot of reasons. They come here because you are who you hang around. So they want to be around other bright people, other innovators, other people that are thinking outside the box. They want to be surrounded in that this almost like this petri dish of innovation that occurs out here. And the choices that you made, you know, to get you where you're at right now. The reason I'm here at Facebook is because choices that I made, you know, several years ago. And being able to come out here based on sharing a 2-minute video about my business and why I'm excited to do what I do, you know, that led me here to Facebook. You know, that 2 minutes I had been preparing for almost 10 years. And when you get your 2 minutes, I want you to think about that. What are you going to do with it? Because everybody's going to have that moment, that eureka kind of moment. And when I had my 2 minutes to talk about my business, it wasn't like a surprise audition. It wasn't a catch me on the spot. It was something I had been preparing for, and I've been setting up steps and putting things in place over the years. So when my 2 minutes came, I was ready. And when you think about entrepreneurship, I want to kind of deliver that message, because a lot of us right now, you know, you might be out there thinking about, you know, preparing for something, you know, and then maybe you have an audition coming up, maybe you have an interview coming up, maybe you have a big business decision that's coming up, and it's weighing on you heavy, you know, and if it's weighing on you, that's probably going to be an indicator that you're not preparing every single day for that moment. You know, one of my mentors always, you know, says if you stay ready, then you don't have to get ready. So you're not going to find yourself all of a sudden, oh my God, I got to speak about my business. You know, what am I going to say? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And as I was going through the streets today, and I was, you know, peeking inside small businesses, little boutique shops, and new startups, you know, in that sense, that buzz, you know, when I was looking in some of these businesses of the people that were working, they're preparing. They don't know when they're going to be able to take that company public. They don't know when they're going to bump into a person that might invest in their company. They don't know when that breakthrough idea is coming. But they're in there and they're sharpening the saw every single day. They're getting ready and they want to stay ready. So when the opportunity comes, you're ready to knock it out the park. And that's something that I want you guys to be thinking about, because in your business right now, I'm sure there's things, that you're looking at and you're like, well, what if this happens? Am I, or what if that happens? Be ready. Be ready, because you're only, you could be 1 or 2 degrees away from your business completely exploding or completely imploding. And I know for you, I know for me, you hope that you're 1 or 2 degrees away from it exploding. You don't want it to implode, but it could go either way. So every single day when you wake up and you get to wake up on the right side of the dirt and you have another day, what are you doing to prepare for the opportunity that is going to come? What are you doing to prepare for that new business opportunity or that new business partner? What are you doing with this? To be prepared, because a lot of us, we're our own worst enemy. We walk through, life, or we go through and we have like little blinders on, so we don't see opportunity. We don't recognize opportunity, and it could be coming at us. And we're just, because of the blinders, we miss a lot of opportunities. And yeah, there will be other opportunities that come, but what about the ones that you've missed? You probably already have missed some. Well, let me tell you this. One thing that I encourage you guys to do, all of our, our Rolling with the D crew that's out there, I encourage you to do, is to live with the windshield perspective. Now, when I talk about the windshield perspective, what am I talking about? That you're driving in your car, you have a few different options of where you could be looking. You could be looking out the windshield. You could be looking in the rear view mirror. You could be looking in your side mirrors. Some people drive and they live with the rear view mirror perspective. What does the rear view mirror perspective look like? They're looking like what's behind them. Who's coming behind them? Who did he just pass? What was that? And they're missing the big picture. They're missing the windshield perspective. They're missing the front view, the front window perspective. And those are where the opportunities lie. The opportunities don't lie behind you. One of my mentors always says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery. So the opportunity is today. So that's the opportunity. And as I come out here and I'm kind of in that buzz and I hear these entrepreneurs and I see them, everybody's got this sense of purpose. Even the way that they walk, they're just moving. They're moving fast. They're going somewhere. And a lot of them, they don't necessarily know where they're going to end up, but they're moving and they're moving forward. And that's what we all have to do. You, me, all of the entrepreneurs. When you think about that entrepreneur that lives within you, that breakout, that person that you have inside that you may have been, kind of quieting down. Every time they come up with a good idea, you knock them down and you tell them, shut up, and you tell them, be quiet, and you put them back to sleep, or you put them to bed. And then they think, well, what if? And then you tell them, no, shut up, and you keep telling that inner entrepreneur to shut up. But that inner entrepreneur is the one that's looking out the front window. They're looking out the main view, the big picture. And that one that's telling them to shut up, that's the person that's looking in the rear view. That's the rear view thinker. Because the rear view thinker is thinking, well, remember when, we passed that, and they look in the rear view mirror and they remember what happened, and then it prevents them from seeing further forward. So that's the mentality of the entrepreneur. That's the mentality of the people, and that's why people flock to this area, because they want to be around that mentality. They want to be around the mentality that says, hey, maybe we can go to Mars. Maybe we can do this. What if we thought about it like that? Just because it was one way, or it's always been done one way. You think about that, things have always been done. Why do you do this way? Because that's the way we've always done it. Those truly are the words of a dying person or a dying entrepreneur or a dying business. If you do the same things you've always done, you're going to get the same things you've always got. It's no progress. So when people come out here, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at, how can we try to do something different? And so it's just like a little nucleus. That's why I'm excited to be here, because it's constantly, it's what I talk about on the show. It's what I talk about with my own team. It's the way that I think. What's next? How are we moving? Are we moving forward? And every day, we're constantly trying to move, and we're trying to elevate. Think of words that move forward, elevate. Think of words, educate. These kind of words that move us forward. And that's what you have to constantly be doing. Are you crying over spilt milk? Are you still thinking about, there's people right now that are still talking about, that game that they won when they were in the little league, or when they were in high school, or they're still riding a dream, college, walking around, thinking about that still. They're still hanging on to the glory, hanging on to that old victory. And they haven't had a victory in forever. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person. It's called stale. It's what it is. It's stale. Because that stale mentality, it kind of, they feel good, and they feel good just for a second, because they remember, oh, I did this and I did that. And they're riding that one victory. When I have a victory, I celebrate it, and then I'm looking on to the next one, because each win counts. So I'm moving on to the next one. I'm looking for that next win. I'm going to celebrate it. So when you have a victory, I want you to celebrate it, and then I want you to be moving on. You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving forward. As I'm preparing to go to Facebook, I was looking up some of the information about Facebook, and they have a lot of different mottos, and I'm going to get some really cool pictures and tons of information I'm going to share with you tomorrow. But some of the things that I found out, some of their mottos, they say, if that one of the sayings they have there, it's move fast and break things. And I was like, what? Move fast and break things? Well, one of their mottos, move fast and break things, where does that come from? Well, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and the CEO, he says, if you're not trying, if you're not moving fast enough, and you're playing it safe all the time, then that's where innovation doesn't live. That's where good ideas don't come from. That's where things just die and they cease to exist. So he always encourages his team. He encourages his team to move fast and break things. So keep moving fast and not being afraid, to try something new, or try something different, or try something, maybe you heard someone say that they would never try, or maybe you said you would never try something, and then you try it anyway. And then you pivot. Sometimes those things get broken. And it's not, when we do break something, it's like, oh man, now we're going to stand around and, we're going to mope, and we're going to, have a nervous breakdown about it. It's all right. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next thing. So that's one of the cool things that I found that they live by. So I'm excited to get around, that culture and see what that's all about. And I want you to be thinking about, how do you approach your day? Are you approach your day? Is it routine? Sometimes you got to break that up. Do you do the same thing? Like when you start doing the same thing every single day, day in and day out, day in and day out, eventually what happens? You bore out, you get comfortable, you get stale, innovation dies, creativity suffers, good ideas don't exist. You become like that pool. That pool that just no one took care of it, and the filter stopped working, and the jet stopped working. What happens over time? The still water, and then it starts to turn green, and the bacteria starts to grow on it. And it's just disgusting. It's still, and it's you would never ever want to be caught near it. How do we keep the pool fresh? We keep current moving. We keep the jets moving. We keep the filtration moving. That's the same thing with us as humans. It's the same thing with anything. You think about it. If a ship sits in the bay, or if a ship sits at the dock, it'll rust out, it'll collect barnacles, it'll rust out, wear out, and just totally fall apart quicker than if it were out sailing the seas, if it were out, tackling the water. Why is that? Think about that. Just the same thing with a plane. Think about a plane. If a plane's like sitting in the hangar, if a plane is sitting in the hangar, what's going to happen? It's going to rust out. It's going to wear out. It's not going to be used for what it was meant for. What is a plane meant for? A plane is meant for flying. What is a ship meant for? A ship is meant for sailing the high seas. Think about a car. Have you ever let a car just kind of sit and you don't go and give it gas, you don't go and turn on the engine, and it just sits in a garage? What happens? Same thing. Same thing happens. The engine dies. It starts to rust out. Same thing happens to you. Same thing happens to me. I'm a human just like you are. What happens? Good ideas suffer. We start to rust out. We start to die. So as you guys are thinking about, how you're treating yourself, how you're using your own ideas, using your own mind, using your own body, you got to be thinking about it the same way. You don't want to become idle. You don't want to become idle. You don't want your ideas to just, stop moving. You don't want to become a non-current. Just like that water, you have to remain current. You have to remain current. You have to keep moving. You have to keep your ideas flowing. You have to keep things in progression, because you'll rust out the same way. A ship sitting in the harbor will collect the barnacles and it'll rust out and it'll go away. A plane sitting in the hangar that's just sitting there, it'll rust out and you won't be able to fly. It'll become useless. A human that's not being engaged, that's not pushing themselves, that's not being pushed, that's not, coming up with new ideas, the mind will be idle and it'll rust and it'll go away. It's just like developing atrophy. If you have muscles that you don't use. So think about if your legs or your stomach or your chest, all of a sudden, right, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. And then you go to the gym. What do? You go to the gym, you start working out. What happens immediately? You get completely ripped. Your muscles are so sore. Everything hurts. You can't walk for the next a week. What happened? Well, your muscles begin to atrophy. They begin to go away. So then you try to wake them up again. And it's the same thing that can happen with your mind. If you don't use it, you lose it. You've all heard that before. That saying, it's true. If you don't use it, you lose it. So what I'm encouraging you guys to do is to think about the atrophy of the mind. Think about the atrophy of the body. The mind, they say that, a great mind's a terrible thing to waste. Well, the mind, it needs those exercises. When you're listening to a program like this, or you're reading, you're being engaged, you're coming up with new ideas, you're trying new things, that's all mental aerobics. That's all mind exercise. And that's just as important as any other exercise that you do, whether it be, whether you're at the gym, whether you're running, you're biking, you're swimming. All of those things you do to physically work, it's the same thing with the mind. Same thing that you're going to do with your mind, same thing that you're going to do with your body, you want to be doing with your mind. And that's going to be important for you to constantly be improving that, constantly be doing mental crunches, mental jumping jacks, mental curls. You're trying to strengthen up that mind, just like you would take this right here and you're strengthening up your arms and you're exercising. Your mind is the same way. You have to be working the mind the same exact way that you would work any other muscle that's in your body, any other muscle. So I'm excited to be out here and get to do some of these mind exercises and these mental aerobics. And we're working with these guys at Facebook. That's where some of the brightest minds, from all of the major universities and international people come to work at Facebook. And one of the things that they love about working there, is, that's where they can get around a collective group of people and be pushed to try to innovate and come up with new products and new approaches and hacking into new parts of the technology that they're using in the industry of the social, mediums that they're developing. So when they get around each other, and that's where good ideas they start to breed from each other, and they're challenged. So some of the brightest minds in the world are there. So I'm excited to get around them. Hopefully, some of that will rub off on me, and I can share it with you, and it'll rub off on you too. So that's going to be an exciting day. I'm really excited to be here. I can't wait to get on to the campus tomorrow. I'll be there bright and early in the morning, and I'll be able to come, share with you the experiences that I'm having here, and I'm going to be, checking out the rest of Palo Alto. I got to hang out a little bit, like I said, today in the daytime, and there's definitely a buzz in the air. The entrepreneurs are here, rolling with the D. Sunny D is in the place to be. I'm here in Palo Alto, sharing some of the experience with you. And tomorrow I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here the next couple of days. So I'll be coming to you guys live from location. I may be doing a couple, shorter shows like I did one this morning, just to kind of checking in, doing a little video, showing you some of the scenery. Maybe I can, depending on what the protocol is when I get on campus, when I get at the Facebook headquarters tomorrow, we'll see if I can do a little bit of broadcasting, from there. I would love to do that too. So stay tuned for that. I want you guys to be just thinking about, some of the things we're talking about tonight. You have to stay current. You have to stay moving. You have to keep your mental exercises going. You have to keep your mind. You don't want it to become idle. You don't want it to be still. Adapt to the surroundings. Move fast. Break things. Try new things. That's what Hacking the Bob is all about. Being able to hack the beauty industry, looking at the business of beauty, being able to crack through some of the layers, being able to figure things out, and being able to become stronger, better entrepreneurs. That's what Rolling with the D is all about, and that's what Hacking the Bob is all about. So I'm excited to be out here in California, excited to talk to you guys more over the next couple of days. It's going to be action-packed. So stay tuned. Make sure you're sharing this. If you're following, using the hashtag, the official hashtag RWTD for Rolling with the D. Share the show with your friends. Share the show with your family. Anybody you think that might need a little checkup from the neck up. And be in tune to what's going on. If you're on the YouTube, you can share it there. If you're listening in on the podcast version of the show, thank you guys for doing that. Make sure you drop us a little rating in the iTunes store. Give us a recommendation, give us a rating, give us some feedback. It helps inside of iTunes for us to get some FaceTime on the homepage of the podcast network, so we can distribute our content. We can get this in the hands of as many people as possible. So if you are listening on the podcast, make sure you share this. Make sure you're giving us a rating. Give us a review on iTunes. That would be great. And then if you're on Twitter, if you're on any of the other social medias, we're curating all of your comments. We're curating all of your posts. Just make sure if you're sharing, use our official hashtag RWTD for Rolling with the D. And I can't wait to talk to you guys tomorrow from Palo Alto, California. This is Sunny D. I'm going to sign off for tonight. Got an action-packed day tomorrow, and I look forward to talking to you guys. Get out there as entrepreneurs. Keep hacking the business of beauty, hacking the Bob. Share your successes with me. I can't wait to hear and keep growing. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.